subscribers. Subscriber. We're back another time, once more, with the video lessons. I'm teaching you lessons. You know, these are life important lessons. Extremely crucial lessons of a high value and scope. These are crucial lessons that a person needs to learn in order to be able to cope with the myriads of situations that one might have to deal with in life, I guess. Although it's not as exciting as people make it out to be. You know, what does it mean? We were speaking upon the subject of alteration. You know, which is one of the most common forms of magic. You know, if you played Oblivion, maybe, you will know that there are 5 different branches. 5 different branches. And I think they were made less. There were made less branches in Skyrim. Maybe there's 6 different branches. There's the one that's like, there's restoration, alteration, conjuring, destruction, illusion, and what else? I think there was one more in Oblivion. Guys, leave a comment down below. Leave a comment down below and tell me, what's your favorite heuristic for categorizing unseen capabilities? Is it the houses from Hogwarts, maybe? And the personality traits associated with the animals on the crest? Or is it the magics from the Elder Scrolls series? Anyways, it pertains to the same thing. Now you might be thinking, oh, but it doesn't, because it's not possible to do all the cool shit that they did in the movies. IRL. And to that I just have to say, maybe, maybe not. Depends how fucked up you are. Alright? There are some nights when shit is like a movie. We've all heard that expression. But then other nights, shit is like you wish it was a movie. You know what I'm saying? Because then there would at least be some predictability to it. Anyways, that's about it. It's just your imaginative force. Right? Just remember that. Whatever you imagine, you attract. If you imagine it repeatedly and fall in love with the image, to fall in love with the image. But that's quite irresponsible, you know. Like, it's kind of a upper class version of that chick who said she was in love with a roller coaster and was kissing a roller coaster and shit. And everyone thought that was ridiculous, right? But you got motherfuckers, you know, living in castles, trying to modify their attraction to serve their will, and then abusing it in a sort of weird way. Which is why I don't fold my hands in the conventional way, because I noticed that a lot of those people are doing that. They're using prayers as spells, and it's like, the fuck? You're gonna try to put a spell on me? My ulti is that I kick you in the face. You know, but I once prayed when I was a kid. This is 100% non-bullshit, non-fictional, bona fide account of reality. Because I prayed when we were in the car that Cypress Hill's Insane in the Brain would come on the radio. And just as I had finished praying, it did. Like clockwork. Now you might say Tor, or whatever your name is. Why aren't you then fully convinced? You created a simple empirical test for the existence of God, and the motherfucker passed it. That's like the reverse of everyone else. That's like the reverse of everyone else. Now, of course, any skeptic could counter-argument, well, it was just luck. It was just a sheer coincidence. Whatever that means. You know, you stop to think about sheer coincidence, what the fuck does that mean? You know, how is that any less magical? Who's out sirening right now? Is it an ambulance or a copper? It's an ambulance. So yeah, so I was like, I was freaked out, you know. First and foremost, I was like, wait a second. And this was like my St. Augustine type of moment. You know, I told you before, I nailed Einstein when I was like 6. Because I'm the philosophical Mozart. And then, you know, I verbally drew an equality sign between motion and time, which I think is like a paraphrasing of his shit. I don't know what the MC, what is it? Something about the speed of, anyways. I got the concept, you see. But yeah, I was having my Augustine shit, but like, instead of being like, oh, well, God has answered my prayer, I must now become a believer, I was like, that can't have been God. All the shit I've heard about God is that he doesn't answer banal prayers like that. You know, he's not my DJ. He's not my DJ. You know, why would he do that? Why would my story start out with my big wonder just immediately being like, yes, I exist? And I was like, well, that means I've got superpowers. I can request any song I want. And so I open up my prayer MacBook, right? And I go, what song do I want now? Now I want AC/DC, Thunderstruck. Please, 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 please. Amen. other times it didn't work out. What? The other times it didn't work out. So I was like, well, it's essentially like tossing a coin. Sheer luck. But of course, that moment of Insane in the Brain by Cypress Hill being put on in the car while we were listening to a pretty cheesy radio station, by the way. You know, it was quite cheesy. Wasn't exactly the place you would expect that song to come on, even though it's a hit, and would be expected on more or less any radio station if it plays a varied, mixed bag of hits from the 2000s. But nevertheless, it interjected in a excessively corny segment, which just broke through. It was like God himself was trying to speak to me. Now, of course, the contents of that song are holy. And so perhaps he was speaking to me through the band. Perhaps, if I was a priest, perhaps I would say that that song contains more wisdom than all the school lessons and fucking documentary show discussions that you have in your puny mortal life. Or something. Although I wouldn't be philosophically well versed enough to give you a sort of synopsis of Cypress Hill's Insane in the Brain. But it did actually happen, and it freaked me out. But it didn't cause me to become religious, because I was like, first of all, this shit only works at random, because I cannot now treat God as my personal DJ. And second of all, you know, why would I want to worship the personal DJ God? Oh, big whoop, you could put on a song for me. What are you, my dad? You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? So I just kind of put it away and just like went on with my life. My life of doubt and of kind of strange experiences. Feeling sometimes motivated by strange, who knows, spirit, perhaps. So I doubted it. And then my life went on. Like a reverse Augustine. I was like, I just need to get this God motherfucker off my neck before I can start living, you know. This idea of God. Of course, later I became infatuated with Augustine, because I was nearing the end of my university time, and I needed some sort of intellectual justification to become a bum instead of a contender. Because of course salvation did make me laugh. You know, you speak to me of salvation, I turn away like a hurt, like a hurt duchess. Huh. There shall be no talk of such. There shall be no talk of such. Who are you? Who are you to suggest such a thing? Now, is it insane to sit around and pray for songs to come onto the radio? Well, evidently God agrees. God agrees. So what does that mean, eh? The 21st century God is like, fuck that Bible format. I'm just gonna give the kid the song and see if that'll do it for him. And I go, this isn't that motherfucker they told me about. Then, you know, didn't we both hold up our end of the bargain there? I didn't start simping on him and he didn't start stalking me. And it's like, that's a solution we both can see eye to eye on. No spinking home. So yeah, that sounds like a made up story with the radio song, but that is actually 100% bona fide truth. It's one of my most vivid memories. You know, we might have been dipping inside of the crazy dimension. But I remember it. I remember it. You know, because there's a lot of songs and music out there which is almost revolutionary in its nature, and it becomes like a really big task for the forces of reaction to sort of diffuse said art by discussing it to death. And so that's what had been happening on this current holiday. We'd been discussing Cypress Hill's Insane in the Brain to death. Of course, I at that time was Franklin, so I didn't really care. I was like, this song is cool AF. It's got a great beat, and it's catchy. You know, it's like at that time I was loving, you know, the Eminem show. They were trying to discuss it to death, I guess. To kind of taint it in a way. Or perhaps that is just my extremely bearish mentality on everything. Perhaps it was coincidental. But then we had to listen to it in the core. And I enjoyed that a lot, you know. I feel like me and God probably enjoyed that moment quite a lot. So yeah. So what is it? What is the point of this story? Right. Well, motherfuckers, let's speak abstractly on God. You know, if you're created in His image, that means He probably thinks a lot like you. You know. So how can you go wrong? How can you go wrong? You might say, I'm a sinful person. I have urges that forces me to commit evil acts against others, just for my own pleasure. But then it's like, well, if you have that, you're either gonna not act on those urges or you're gonna act on them and unleash a chain of events that will lead to your own death. And that's kind of what it is, you know. If you're evil, you're just kind of suicidal. Then eventually you come crashing down, perhaps into a fate worse than death. You just don't know it yet. But it's like, why would you assume that the mood of the priest is the mood of the god? You know? Like if you go to I don't know, a big institution, and you look at, the janitor, who's as close to omniscient as anyone in that institution, he's probably going to have a whimsical sense of humor, a somewhat hard to penetrate sense of humor, a kind of dark sense of humor. And, if you're imagining an omniscient being, if I was omniscient, I'd probably kill myself if I didn't have a sense of humor. You know what I'm saying? Good spirits. Deus Lulz. Who's got good spirits in this? That's what we lost. That is what we lost. That is the toll of the world wars. In art history, you can see that the world wars change the perspective of the artistic from the glorification of nature to the strange underrealm, the nightmare world of those traumatized individuals left behind on the fields. And as such, the mood of the age changes to a somber mood. It is like the difference between the good guys and the bad guys in Lord of the Rings. That is the pre- and post-war Europe. And religion has definitely imposed somberness on people. But what really did the trick was howitzers and machine guns and mustard gas and meaninglessness of it all. So I thought that, if motherfucker's omniscient and omnipotent, then he'd probably want me to do something cool with his science project assignment, rather than just copy everyone else's reaction. And that's what I did. Now, who is this guy? Who is the God? I'm not going to say to you. Why would I? Why would I? It's me. It's just me talking to myself. Is that what you want to hear? I have my own beliefs about that. But I'm not served by sharing them with anyone. Because then you get cringe ass copycats or motherfuckers who wanna try and change my mind. Who want to like try and change my mind, because they view their religion as a business, and they must monopolize all mystical experience and weave all mystical experience into their tapestry of preconceived notions and calcified meanings. Which could be interesting to see, but it's like I'm not looking for saint status here. All right, I'm looking for infamy. I'm looking to become infamous like a rock and roll artist, like Dave Mustaine. Yes, another great artist, like the great Mustaine. So yeah, what am I doing today? Sitting on my ass, drinking coffee with sugar, and smoking on that dank. Because I'm touched by the beyond. But yeah, listen to Cypress Hill, guys. Alright, maybe you will have a mystical experience. Who knows? Who knows if you'll have a mystical experience? I know that at one point in my life, I got God to take the AUX. And that was one of the best decisions of my life. With God on AUX, Gott mit AUX, I felt invincible in that moment. But I quickly realized the logical constraints of that, of it being like Adam Sandler's Click, and I can just be like, and now I want to enter Sandman. So obviously, but you know, that has the same logical constraints as being like, everyone, I was thinking to myself, I really want to hear the song, and the song came out, and I walk around like an idiot for the rest of my life. Like a good patsy. Like a sow to be milked. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Subscribe in my trousers. And yeah, just get the notifications. Take everything I say with a grain of salt, please. And I'll catch you on the flip side.